the early months of 1692, a fervor had started in Salem, Massachusetts. By the fall of that year, it had spread across all of New England. It became known at the time as a witch panic, and this resulted in over 100 individuals being tried and executed on the charges of witchcraft. Many towns and villages were caught up in this fever, with accusations of witchcraft being tossed about like chaff in the wind, and the town of Shadowbrook was no exception. Our story opens in the town hall, where the town magistrate is in an agitated state. The magistrate exclaimed, "I won't be an accomplice to murder. Both of us know this woman is innocent, and yet the gallows are being built as we speak." Judge Bors reasoned with the solicitor, saying, "Young man, you must understand, this is beyond my control. Even if we were to intercede, it would only bring loss upon ourselves and our families, and the result would remain unchanged. Bartlett would still hang." The magistrate replied, "If you wish to be an accomplice to murder, that is your business, but my hands shall not be stained with the blood of an innocent woman." He turned and thrust himself out the door, slamming it shut as he departed. The week-long trial of Elaine Bartlett had concluded, but there was never a doubt regarding the verdict. All the jury members were citizens of the town of Shadowbrook, and each of them had a seething hatred in their hearts toward the accused. They believed that this woman had vexed them, afflicted them physically, financially, and spiritually, and they would have their Shylockian pound of flesh, one way or another. The woman was the perfect scapegoat, one on which all the town's troubles could be applied. What better way to cover the shortcomings of one's own sins than to vilify the innocent for the crime? The execution would take place at 10 o'clock the following morning, on All Hallows' Eve. Throughout the night, the jailer heard Bartlett sobbing and praying, seeking a miracle that would save her from the hangman's noose, but no such marvel would be forthcoming that evening. The morning broke to a gloomy gray, overcast sky, and a soft rain blanketed the town. As it neared the 10 o'clock hour, the jailer shackled Bartlett's hands and feet, and brought her to the place of execution in a wagon. The whole of Shadowbrook gathered around the gallows to witness the hanging. As the condemned woman passed by, calls of witch, succubus, and consort of the devil were thrust at her from the throng of angry bystanders. As she climbed the steps of the scaffold, Elaine turned to the judge, and with folded hands, she pleaded, "You know I am innocent of these crimes. How can you let this injustice continue?" As she reached the top of the platform, the hangman placed the noose around her neck and tightened it around her throat. Suddenly, he jumped back, nearly falling from the platform, as he screamed, "Her eyes! Look at the evil wench's eyes!" The crowd gasped in horror as Bartlett's eyes began to glow like pools of red-hot hellfire. She hissed at the crowd and said in a guttural voice,
"I was innocent of these charges, but no longer. Last night, I made a blood pact with Beelzebub, and he granted me the power to avenge myself against your vile treachery. You have not seen the last of me, ye wretched worms of Shadowbrook. My spirit will return, and I shall pour out my righteous vengeance upon your descendants, tenfold. They will pay the price for your deceit."
She paused, tilted her head back, and screamed out at the top of her lungs,
"I am Apollyon, the Destroyer. the angel of the bottomless pit.
At that moment, the sound of a snapping rope echoed across the square, as the spirit of Elaine Bartlett entered into eternity, or so it seemed. As the woman had been executed for witchcraft, she could not be given a Christian burial in the church cemetery. The church pastor instructed the gravediggers, saying, "This woman's soul is accursed. Select a location, somewhere far away from the town, and bury her there. Leave the location unmarked." As the men loaded the woman's body into the wagon, they noticed a feral cat skulking along the edge of the woods. One of the men picked up a rock and threw it at the feline, saying, "Away with you, ye servant of the devil." It was widely known at the time that Bartlett kept a wild cat, which she'd named Solomon. The woman was rarely seen outside of the cat's presence, and at the trial, the prosecutor alleged that the feline was the accused's familiar. Following Bartlett's demise, Solomon was seen prowling across the countryside, with misfortune spreading wherever he strayed. It was reported that the creature was still being spotted many decades following the execution, well beyond the natural life of a house cat. It was believed by some that Bartlett had transferred her spirit into the cat just before her execution. Now, 100 years have passed since that dreadful day, and the prophecy that had been proclaimed from atop the scaffold has largely been forgotten by the people. However, in recent weeks, several travelers have reported seeing a ghost-like apparition after nightfall, lurking along the byways leading to Shadowbrook. They described the spectre as a woman, clad in a black shroud, with a weathered noose tied around her neck. Some believe that this phantom is the spirit of Elaine Bartlett, preparing for her day of vengeance.